These stories of people being treated this way is why the buyer representation agreement exists now. I run my business like a business.
Right.
I will not be the agent that does that and shows you houses for 9 months.
Also, you're not. And if you have a buyer who's pushing back about signing your buyer brokerage agreement or sending the ID or doing any of the steps of the process, it's because they're not legit.
Right.
Not that they're fraudulent, they're just looky-loos.
Yeah.
They're not serious.
If you cave at their first request, which goes against how you run your business, they are going to run the rest of the show. Despite all the work that my friend realtor did, Zillow agent is like,
give me my money.
I need my money. I pay Zillow.
I got to pay these big bills.
I got to pay my Zillow bill. I said, your husband may be difficult and businessy. I have worked with legit terrible people.
Yeah.
I have worked with all kinds of kinds, and I'm capable of handling people like your husband.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Hustle Humbly.
We're Alissa and Katy, two active realtors in the Baton Rouge market. We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths.
Hi, Alissa.
Hey, Katy.
Welcome to episode 358. I don't know.
Verifying ownership, verifying who your client actually is when it comes to signing documents.
Yes.
We haven't figured out the title yet.
Rightful signers.
Signers
was the working title.
Yeah.
Sort of a logistical episode about how do you make sure you're getting all the right people on all the right documents before there's a problem?
Before they think this might be a boring episode, I feel like I should just open with the story.
It's wild. Please
on
tell
why this is important.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, one of my good friends who is an agent had a parent reach out to her to hire her to be their realtor. Parent was buying a home for her daughter to go to LSU.
Okay.
So great, wonderful. The parents sign the buyer representation agreement and they start looking at homes.
Yep.
So she works with them. The daughter's there looking at homes. They don't find anything that first trip visit.
Okay.
So the parents leave, go back out of town. They're like, we'll keep an eye on the market and come back for round 2. In the meantime, the daughter, who is in college, is browsing Zillow and clicks the button that we hate that they click, the contact agent button. And gets assigned to an agent who is, of course, not the listing agent and says, I want to go see this cute, precious house.
Right.
So the agent is like, sure. And then buyer shows up and agent presents her with a buyer representation agreement and says, if you want to get inside this house,
you have to do this right now.
You have to sign this. And she did. And she loved it. She loved the house and sent it to her mom, told mom, I found the house I want you to buy me. Mom is like, what about our realtor? And she's like, oh, I don't know. How does that work? The daughter's like, so my friend gets a call from the mom saying, we have a problem. This is what happened. She went and saw this house.
Now we want to buy it.
And now we do want to buy it. And my realtor friend is like, well, that's okay. We're not really, it's sticky, but you are the buyers and I have your signatures on the buyer representation
Your daughter is not the buyer.
Your daughter is not the purchaser. And the mom is like, well, here's the other problem. We do want her to be on the mortgage. We want this to be like a joint. She's responsible. This is going to be her first home.
Help her with her.
Start building wealth and credit.
Yeah.
And so now we have a huge problem.
So there's 2 buyers.
Yes.
And 2 buyer rep agreements with 2 different agents.
Yes. So there is not one buyer rep agreement at this time that has all parties on it.
Oh, my word.
And I will tell you, things got feisty. Brokers got involved. Despite all the work that my friend realtor did, Zillow agent is like,
Give me my money.
I need my money. I pay Zillow.
I got to pay these big bills.
I got to pay my Zillow bill. Which is why, honestly, things got, I think, so feisty. I think in a normal situation, we could all be professionals and understand that things happen and figure out how you want to handle
Well, how did they sort it out?
They ended up just having to split it 50-50. So money was lost because of one missing signature.
What is the lesson to be learned here as far, what will your friend do different next time?
She's like definitely making sure that I understand who is going to be on the mortgage.
Yeah.
Who's going to be on the title.
Right.
The question isn't necessarily who's the buyer. It's legally speaking.
Right.
Who do you see on the title? Who is going to be on the title?
Yeah.
Because if it's just going to be the
mom's the buyer.
Mom's the buyer. We don't even need dad's signature.
Yeah.
So I don't think, knowing what she knows now, she's like, maybe I will just send it to the kids also just in case. It hurts nothing if they're on there. Have you ever stared at a blinking cursor trying to write an email to a client and thought, why is this so hard?
That's why we created Email Templates, a series of emails written for you by us. Real agents, not AI.
You'll have an email to send your client at each part of the process, so they have all the information they need when they need it.
And you answer their questions before they even have time to ask.
The template package comes with 12 buyer and 13 seller templates, plus 6 supporting attachment documents.
You'll save time, avoid mistakes, and deliver a consistent client experience that leads to more positive reviews, repeat business, and referrals.
Plus, you get lifetime updates, so as the business changes, your system will stay current.
Grab Email Templates 101 at hustlehumblypodcast.com/templates and work smarter, not longer. Okay, so interesting. So we asked in community, the agents who were talking with us, what they do and like some of these, what do they say? One of them said, I say to my client, who will be on all the legal documents? I need all of the legal names.
Yes.
So whenever I'm starting off with the very first thing, so that buyer brokerage agreement, who's on all the legal documents? I need all of their legal names.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, one person said that their broker says, have anyone sign who they're providing agency to. Just anyone that you're giving advice to, that you're acting as an agent during that transaction, just make them all sign.
Yeah, it hurts nothing really.
But there's also some stuff where it's like, you can't assume, right? So I'm sure I would have done the same thing. Mom is buying the house. They say mom's buying the house. I assume it's just mom.
I would also like to point out this is in the very early stages of the buyer representation agreement.
Yeah, it didn't just happen.
Right.
So you would make an assumption, but you have to be really careful. You'd have to also ask mom, are you married? Is someone else also responsible? Like, even though no other person, what if no one else ever showed up to showings, but really there's another person who has to sign?
Yeah.
They all have to be on there. I mean, before the law changed and we got here, especially more into using our PBA, this story, exactly what you've told, I've heard before at my old brokerage with same thing. Agent in my office working with man is buying property. Girlfriend is also working with an agent. They're buying the house together, but he's the only one paying for it. And it got real sticky as well because end up the one they want to buy is the one that the girlfriend saw. And girlfriend had an agent. An agent said, I'm procuring cause. And man was like, girlfriend is not actually buyer.
Yeah, that is tricky. I think that's why I actually like the buyer representation agreement.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly who my buyers are, and all of this procuring cause nonsense.
That has pretty much quieted.
Because I used to encounter, well, I showed them that one house when they called my sign, and then you had to prove your long chain of events of how you've been working with them, and that you met with their lender, and all the documentation.
Yeah.
Like now, who has the buyer rep agreement?
It's on paper.
It's on paper.
It is much nicer. But I guess this story proves it's not foolproof.
It's not.
It's
No.
not foolproof. You must actually, and it actually is worse. There's a blank on ours where they have to check off, I haven't signed this with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't signed a document with another agent.
That's good.
You not noticed that?
I don't know.
It's up towards the top. There are 2 check boxes, and one is like, I have
Really?
signed something with another agent.
I don't think the one I have has that.
Okay, well, we'll
I
have
need
to
to
pull
go
it out and look. Because the auto one,
I love that.
you have somewhere the buy. Also, you can only take the buyer at their word, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes buyers are messy.
Yes. And because they don't understand,
Yeah.
they don't realize what a mess they're making. And
Mhm.
honestly, in this situation, the clients, the daughter, everyone felt awful.
Yeah.
They felt terrible. And that it was such a mess. And,
Mhm.
they cost their agent a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's
they
sad.
did. That is kind of sad. This other agent told us they asked for all the names of potential buyers.
Yeah.
Anyone who could possibly end up being on this purchase.
And that's a good point because I just had a situation recently where I had my buyer sign the buyer rep agreement. We've been looking, we're under contract, everything's going fine until the lender calls me and says, we have an issue.
With
The
loan.
tax returns got kicked back. I just don't see a way I can close this loan without like an 8-week extension, which I knew was not going to happen. And it had to be 8 weeks because of IRS stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's not going to happen. And so I quickly call buyer. I'm like, what are we going to do? Buyer calls dad. Dad swoops in, pays cash.
Yeah.
And we close. I didn't even think about it. And then my compliance at my
They're
office.
like, you don't have a BBA with this guy.
Yeah. I close it out and they're like, your buyer rep agreement
Is with the wrong person.
doesn't match the buyer.
Did your buyer sign? Were they?
So the way it worked out is my buyer was on title, but dad is also listed as a purchaser.
Yeah.
And they're just going to let him sort out his tax situation. And next year or whenever,
Yeah.
dad's pretty flexible, buyer will just get a loan and refinance dad off.
Right. Okay.
So I
What did
was
your
like,
office say?
oh, so I guess I need to send it to him, to the dad to sign. And they're like, yeah, we need his name on here. So, I mean, things like that I'm like, in the midst of that crisis, I wasn't even thinking about
but
the
all
buyer
potential buyers. It could be literally
Yeah.
anyone.
It could be anyone. And never in the beginning at the buyer consultation would this buyer have ever thought he'd be calling his dad.
Right. And that would be a really awkward conversation.
Yeah.
You couldn't have possibly sidestepped that.
No, but it's just, things that you don't think about.
And then if you get pushback, because some people just are weird about signing stuff. No, I'm buying it. My wife isn't buying it, whatever. You can always default to the broker language. My broker requires all parties involved in buying must sign the buyer brokerage agreement.
I do have a story for this.
Let's hear it.
This is recent.
Mhm.
And this is someone who I met through a volunteer group I'm in, and we've known each other for years.
Okay.
Love them. Every time I see her, she's talking to me about real estate.
Okay.
And she's even been telling me, I really dislike where I live. I'm always looking. So we're always talking.
Okay.
When I see her and her husband together, he does not seem to share the sentiment, but it's just not.
She's always looking. He not so much.
I think he's fine
Okay.
where they're at.
Right.
So she finally calls me one day and says, okay, and I will admit, I don't know if I was busy, if I was being lazy, if I was having a lazy moment, if I was too comfortable in the friend zone, but this is just a reminder not to get that way, especially with your friends. But she's like, Alissa, we are serious about moving. We would obviously, because I had been telling her, whenever y'all are both ready to sit down,
Yeah.
we'll do that. We'll have a consultation, you know? I would just constantly tell her that because I'm also, throughout our years of friendship, trying to remind her I'm a business.
Right.
So anytime she would express interest, I would always say, let me know when you're ready for the consultation. We're not just going to jump in here, you know? And she had told me neighborhoods that she was loving. And she would always say, if something ever comes up in here, please think of me.
Okay.
So we're very informally like,
Mhm.
you know. So she calls me. She's like, we're ready. Listen, I know we need to do the consultation,
Mhm.
but this house just came up. It's everything I could have ever dreamed of. It's like $1.2 million. I have to see it. Husband said, like, go see it, report back. Like, you know, I'm like, okay. And this was on like a Tuesday. And she said, I would really like to go Friday. I'm off work. I'm
Okay.
like, okay. I said, well, yes, you're right. I would like to do a consultation. Is there any way we can meet before we go? And she's like, no, unfortunately, husband is out of town this week, but he
Okay.
has said, like, go see this house. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be sending over a buyer representation agreement that will allow me to show the house.
Okay.
I need both of your full legal names
Mhm.
and email addresses.
And she gave you that.
She immediately sends them over.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So in the meantime, I send the buyer rep agreement that day. It's a Tuesday. And I call the agent. It was one of those you must call for an appointment.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, we would like to go. I called on Wednesday. I'm like, we would like to go Friday morning, kind of early, because she's heading out. But I wanted to make sure also that the lockbox is open. And she's like, oh, I will. She's like, I have to be there to turn on the lights and everything.
Yeah. I'll let you in.
She's like, but I will probably even be gone by the time you get there. I just like to let. She was like, she knows me, and I was like, okay. So I have this very prestigious appointment all scheduled. And she's like, that is early. And my sellers will make it work. And we'll make it work for you. And, you know, and I'm just like, thank you, thank you. I also don't do a ton of, I don't want to put this out in the universe because I am trying to increase my price point somehow. But I'm typically not a luxury age. I sell like, you know, $300,000-$400,000 houses 80 times a year, and I would like to fix that. Anyway, so I'm very excied about this because then I would also be listing their house, which I have been to, etc.
Okay.
Well, Thursday morning, I'm like messaging my friend. I'm like, hey, husband, like still hasn't signed the buyer rep agreement. I see you signed, but he hasn't signed. She's like, oh, okay, no worries, no worries. Let me message him. I know he's so busy at work. That's his personal email, all these things. Thursday night.
Oh no.
At like 8:00, I'm like, oh my gosh, he hasn't signed. And then I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
He's not coming. So I'm trying to think legally. What happens if he doesn't sign? So I text her again. I'm like, hey, sorry. Could he sign? And then she just sends me a text that's like, I'm so sorry. He's not going to sign, and he's upset with me for signing. And I just said, are you available for a quick phone call? Again, my fault. This is 8:00 at night. Okay. I did remind her that more. I can only remind so many times.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm like, are you available for a quick phone call? We have this appointment like very early in the morning. She doesn't respond. I guess she just like turned her phone off. So she's like not responding to me. So she didn't answer and it went through green. And I'm like, I need to know if I'm showing this house in the morning. Like,
it doesn't sound like you are.
I'm freaking out because of all the arrangements I made to show this house. And so I'm trying to go through all these scenarios of what I should do. So I messaged her again like 20 minutes later and said, hey, this is, you know, I know we never got to do the consultation.
Well,
but does he have questions I can answer that would allow, like, what is the issue? No response. And then I'm like, I don't want to be a crazy person, but like I have to message her again. So I'm like, I wait until like, at this point it's 9:00. And I said, listen, we went through a lot to get this appointment scheduled for tomorrow. So I just need to know, are you coming? Do we not come? She didn't respond. And I'm like, I know she's not getting these because they're going through green. So she's turned her phone off. She went to bed. I don't know, but I'm upset at this point. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm thinking to myself, I know this listing agent and she's always, she reaches out to me to go preview her listings occasionally
Mm-hmm.
when they are sitting. And
Okay.
I'll go and do like a little thing for her. And I'll get my content because they're usually luxury listings. And I help her out too. So I thought to myself, okay, she's obviously, so I sent her a final message that said,
like, this is my final message.
and I also wanted to be like, you've put me in a bad position.
yeah.
So I said, due to us not having a completed buyer rep agreement, I am canceling our appointment in the morning. I did not want to call the listing agent to cancel that appointment at this point, 9:45 at night, when her sellers, have been prepping for our very early appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I just messaged her and said, I have canceled our appointment. When y'all are on the same page, let me know and we will do a consultation together.
Mm-hmm.
And so my plan was to pray that listing agent wasn't going to be there when I got there. I'm just going to go. I am going to walk through it. I'm going to give the best feedback anybody's ever received, and I'm going to just make this worth their while. Okay. That's just what I decided to do.
Okay.
Take some videos maybe for the buyer just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So at 6 a.m., she messages me. And she's like, would you just be free to meet for coffee since we no longer have an appointment? I feel like we need to I'm sorry about last night and I just need to chat with you.
Okay.
I said, honestly, I am still going to the house. I did not feel comfortable canceling on such short notice.
Right.
And doing that to these sellers who accommodated us. So I am going to the house. Technically, you have signed the buyer rep agreement. If you would like to join me and walk through this house, you may, and then we can grab a quick coffee. And she's like, let's do that. I'm like, okay. So she did. She came. We walked through it, and then we met for coffee. And she was basically like, my husband greatly dislikes agents, and he did not feel comfortable signing this buyer rep agreement. He never had to do this when we bought houses in the past. Mm-hmm. And I said,
again,
I know.
That's why we needed a consultation.
This consultation would have explained all that. And she said that she said, yeah, when he saw that thing about 5 years, I said, I immediately opened my computer and scanned the whole thing. I said, nowhere in here does it say that. It doesn't say that anywhere. And she's like, oh, really? I'm like, it doesn't say that anywhere in here. She's like, I was so hesitant because I know how difficult he can be. It's just all business for him. And I didn't want to drag you in because I know how it went when we bought our first house, when we moved here.
You were their agent then?
No. How amazing that agent was and all the things she did for us. And she showed us houses for 9 months, and she would pick me up from the airport and show me all these neighborhoods. And he would just say no, no, no. And then he comes in and plays golf for one day and talks to another agent who says they have a listing coming up. And he just calls me and informs me that he found a house and our agent is no longer needed. And I said, but listen to me. These stories of people being treated this way is why the buyer representation agreement exists now. I run my business like a business.
Right.
I will not be the agent that does that and shows you houses for 9 months.
Also, you're not selling me on wanting to work with your husband.
And I said, I think that your instincts may have been correct, but I wanted to cry a little bit because this total would have been over $2 million with the buy and the sell.
Yeah. And
if I know ahead of time how difficult someone's going to be, I can detach emotionally and just be cold and treat it like a business. I'm capable of doing that.
Right. So you were not prepared in this situation.
Well, I didn't get very far into it. But I was thinking to myself, I didn't want to say, go find someone else. I was just thinking to myself, Alissa, if you decide to try to push for this, you need to be prepared to detach and not take anything personal and just treat it like it is and set your expectations right. But I told her, I said, obviously, I would love to work with both of you. I said, I have sold over 1,000 homes. I said, your husband may be difficult and businessy. I have worked with legit terrible people.
Yeah.
I have worked with all kinds, and I'm capable of handling people like your husband. if it's going to be too difficult for you and it's going to mess up our friendship, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave the ball in your court.
Right.
Honestly, I said, no matter who he wants to work with, this rep agreement is getting signed. It's the law. It's the national
Someone is
law.
going to have him sign it.
Yeah, I said, tell him to Google it. Like, it went into effect since
he wasn't a lawyer,
here.
though.
No.
Okay, keep going.
So I'm like, just tell him to Google it because this is not an Alissa Jenkins thing.
Yeah.
This is national real estate news.
Right.
So, and then I said, this is why I have pushed for that consultation for years. And she's like, I understand. And I'm very sorry. I said, that's okay. This was a good test run. I'm glad you got to see the house that he immediately said no to when she told him about it.
Did she like the house?
She loved the house.
She wanted the house.
The house was amazing. I loved the house. I'm like,
but
dang.
he was like, no.
No, there wasn't enough yard.
Okay.
But all of that to say, I got myself. Like, I had a couple. One signed, one didn't. I was totally willing to. Now, if neither had signed, I would not have let her come to the house, of course. Like, I would have just gone, done a walkthrough, made notes for the agent.
It's probably good that she did come so it didn't look like you were
I agree.
looking suspicious.
And I was going to just, be honest if something came up. If there was cameras and questions were asked, I was prepared to just tell the story of what happened. I went through our community referral list recently, and y'all, we have agents passing real business to each other in almost every state. Texas, Florida, the Carolinas, all over.
Which is the whole point. Your client relocates to Phoenix. You don't hand them to a stranger off the internet. You hand them to someone who does business the way you do.
But here's the fun part. There are still spots wide open. We don't have a single agent in Hawaii or West Virginia right now.
Not one. So that could be you owning your entire state.
And even the busy markets have some room. Austin, Houston, Miami, Denver, and the mountain towns. Places our listeners send people every single week.
This is community over competition. The more of us in here, the more business comes back around to all of us.
So come claim your spot at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership.
We'd love to have you.
Especially you, Hawaii. We're looking at you.
Okay, this story is kind of interestingly similar to one of our other friends who said that they had a BBA with the couple and that they wanted to, it was expiring. So they are also in a luxury price range, right? They were $1.5 million cash buyers who said to the agent that they were going to list their $2 million house when they found where they were going. But she says that the husband was always shifty, her words, not mine.
I like that word, though. It's a good word.
Shifty.
Shady sounds a little judgmental, but shifty is appropriate.
He was very shifty, basically saying things like, I'll just call the listing agent, okay? Like when they found a house they liked. So when this BBA expires, she sends over a new one because they're still looking. And he says, I would like to sign per property.
After it expires, instead of just renewing for another 3 months or 6 months.
And he says, in case I find a for sale by owner, he's like, I just want to sign it per property. And she basically explained what would happen if they call listing agents instead of having an agent, and that she doesn't run her business like that.
Good for her.
And they were in the middle of being like, we want to see this house today. And she's like, well, our agreement's expired. You have to sign a new one. And they're like, we want to sign it for just this house. And she was like, no, sir. And eventually they did sign.
Good for her for holding her ground and running her business like she needs to run it.
She retained her client, but they pushed. They will push.
They will push.
They will push. So you really have to sometimes super hold your ground.
And I think that sets the precedent for how things are going to go moving forward.
Yeah.
Like if you cave at their first request, which goes against how you run your business, they are going to run the rest of the show.
Yeah. You've
lost all control.
And just if you really can't stand in your rules and in your business, be like, my broker says.
Yeah.
I have to do, the law says.
Right.
Just go. It's truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to move on to kind of talking about how to avoid fraud, knowing if the buyer or the seller is the buyer or the seller?
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes it's fraud, and sometimes it's the clients not understanding the legal terminology.
Right.
And for example, I had someone reach out to me and say, I have a house I need you to list.
Mm-hmm.
I am the executor. I have 3 siblings. This was our parents' home.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, awesome. I would be happy to help you. Can you send me over a copy of your power of attorney or a copy of the will? And I don't know how to read these things, obviously. So I immediately sent it to the title attorney that I work with and said, hey, can you confirm who the signer would be? And it was not correct. It was him and his brother.
They both had to sign.
Him and his brother were co-executors.
When you told him that, did he really know but didn't?
He was like, so he has to sign too?
He didn't even know.
And I said, yes, will that be a problem? And he said, no, as long as my sister doesn't have to sign.
See, look, because when there are 5, 3, 6, however many heirs, and there's always one holdout that's like, I don't want to do that.
Right. And thankfully, she did not have to sign. They were allowed to override her decisions. So, but I was like, thank goodness. And thank goodness, this one worked out. But what if it had been the difficult one? I could have fraudulently listed without consent of one of the signers.
Yeah.
It could have been a really...
She could have sued you.
She could have.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. So that's kind of not an easy one, but like, if you're walking into there, like, we've inherited this property, then you automatically know I have other questions to ask.
But I think too many agents, and I think I only started doing that when I heard about another problem in our Monday meeting that another agent had. And I thought to myself, I've never asked for a copy of their will.
No.
But you need documentation.
Have legal proof.
Yes. So you can ask for that, or you can ask to speak to the succession attorney. Hey, can I have their email or phone number?
Yeah.
I just want to call, introduce myself. I've had situations where I had the right signer and I listed the house and we received an offer, and it was sent to the title company, who said the succession was not complete.
They weren't even ready to sell.
They weren't ready to sell. I said, well, how fast does it take to complete a succession? They said, it can take a long time. Are your buyers willing to extend?
Were they?
Yeah, but we had to extend like 90 days.
90 days?
To get the succession complete.
Oh, my word.
So I wasn't even ready. Like, the house wasn't legally ready to sell. So reaching out to the succession attorney, having a copy of the will, making sure that you have the correct signers and that the house is sellable.
Yeah, and then I think we need to dive into, you have to have some identification.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is the story that someone sent in that I've also had someone call me and do this, but I knew I had red flags going up. Oh, because we had our title attorney on an episode. Do you remember what number it was?
190.
Okay, Nikki was on 190 and she talks about wire fraud, but really all the different types of fraud that happen in real estate, and it gets more and more every day. But this story was an agent. There was a young agent in this girl's office, and she said she just listed 10 acres last week for $150,000, like almost half of the normal sale price. I told her it sounded fake, and it was.
Oh my gosh.
Because what happens is these people from out of state will find, it's typically the scam is vacant land, all right?
Yeah,
so they find
easy.
a piece of property that's vacant land, and they call and they say, I'm out of state. I want to sell my property. I'm so-and-so. They are not so-and-so. And they proceed to sign a listing agreement. Property has sold, and they're basically committing fraud on there and saying there's someone they're not.
Right.
But they also ask for an ID, ask for, like, I had a guy call and do it to me, and I was like, I just kept asking questions, and I was like, this is obviously fake.
Right.
But they stick with it.
Yeah, they don't let it go. They make it seem really, really strict. Now, back then, a few years ago, if you had a client that was going to be absent for a closing, it was like $50 to $100 to get a power of attorney for someone else. I don't know if you've had to get one recently, but it's a whole process.
Yeah,
and it's
different.
Expensive because the client cannot just go to the grocery store and get a notary. Like, it has to be
like from an approved network.
An approved network within the title company. All these steps have to be verified.
Basically, our title company says, okay, you want a power of attorney? I'm going to tell you who to go to.
Yes.
Wherever you are.
Yes. And there's a whole verification process on their end that it's now a couple $100, and you have to decide, is it worth? Because the title attorney also said people would just want to do power of attorney just so they didn't have to be inconvenienced.
Like they didn't have to leave work or like,
yes, like. But now people are thinking twice, like, well, I don't want to go through all that. I guess I'll just come sign.
Right.
So it has really cut the POAs that they're issuing about in half because people are realizing, oh, it's not that easy anymore.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be.
From out of
state. It's a big deal.
Yes. Like if you're doing one, like let's just say you have a seller local to where you are. They're going to be leaving. They're moving away. They're leaving before closing happens and they want someone or you to be their power of attorney. That is different because they go in person to the actual title company that will be doing the sale and do all the paperwork.
Yes.
That's not the same.
Correct.
And all of those power of attorneys here in Louisiana have to be recorded as part of the sale.
Yeah.
They're legal, like, recorded documents.
So I didn't know that so in the heir situation, brother, sister have power of attorney for their mother. Okay. Mother is in assisted living for dementia. Okay. So mother is not available. They had POA done early, like, so they have power of attorney. We are selling mom's house. Well, one of the siblings could not come to closing. And they're like, can you just be my power of attorney? And you cannot do a power of an attorney for a power of an attorney.
Yeah.
So we had to figure things out. And we did.
Yeah.
But these are just things that when you are dealing in these situations, you have to tell your clients, you need to be prepared to sign.
Yeah.
We have options. The title company will pay for you. Like you have to pay for a notary to come to you and sign the documents where you are.
Yeah.
Or you can figure out a way to get here.
Right.
But you have to sign.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do it.
Must be you. That's interesting.
I know. All these things that you don't even think about.
For sure.
That I just felt like this was just a good reminder episode. We also did episode 317 on realtor safety, where we reference a little bit about wire fraud. But if you are feeling like you have more questions, I really think you should go back and listen to episode 190.
Yeah, and I always think it's okay. No one tosses up a fuss who, one, is legit. So if you say, I need a copy of your driver's license before we can start looking at houses or before I can send over the listing documents, whatever, and they say no, you can just push back and be like, these are legal documents. I must verify your identity.
Right.
The end.
Right.
Like literally the end. This is what is required.
I'd be like, yeah.
Okay, well, here you go.
But if you're a scammer, you're pushing back.
And if you have a buyer who's pushing back about signing your buyer brokerage agreement or sending the ID or doing any of the steps of the process, it's because they're not legit.
Right.
Not that they're fraudulent. They're just looky-loos.
Yeah.
They're not serious. Because guess what? When they go to apply for their loan, they have to send all that stuff in.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to give it to me, why am I to believe you're going to do any of this?
Right.
You're probably not. You're probably not. Okay. Anything else?
This was a very helpful, practical.
Honestly, I need the reminder myself.
Yes.
It's always good to shore up our procedures and understand why it could go wrong, how it could go wrong. Okay. You got a toast?
I do have a toast.
I can't wait. Okay.
Today we are toasting to Syed.
Okay, Syed.
A realtor in Virginia, and his mentor, Jose Barreto. Syed's story is wild. Okay. So he came to the U.S. in 2022 after serving as an ally to the U.S. Army in Afghanistan. He got his real estate license in America in 2024. He closed 2 transactions his first year, and he grew to 7 transactions in 2025.
That's amazing.
And for 2026, he's already under contract for 12 houses.
Wow.
He said when he first started, he felt like his market was slim. He was limiting himself because he did not feel comfortable with his English.
Okay.
He thought that he could only serve the Afghan community, which there's not many in his area.
Okay.
But then he was like, I had a mindset shift.
Okay.
He said that he realized that clear, sincere communication matters more than perfect English.
I love it.
He let his fear go, and he decided he was ready to compete at a high level in the market. He's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to put myself out there.
Amazing.
I would feel so nervous.
No doubt.
Myself. Yes. So he didn't just change his business. He changed his whole vision, and that's how he grew.
Wow.
He changed his mindset.
Okay, I love that.
So he actually wrote us to just toast his mentor, Jose Barreto. He said, thank you for showing up for an agent who was unsure and is now unstoppable.
Oh my God, cute.
But I wanted to toast to Syed as well. And
Amazing.
he said, I wanted to say thank you to the Hustle Humbly girls.
I love it.
So we are so glad you found us on Spotify.
Do you think that our not that thick of Southern accent might be affecting how he is taking on English as a second language?
Yeah, he's like, their English ain't that good. They say y'all. I can sell houses.
What if Syed is walking around saying y'all all the time?
He might be.
I love it so much.
He's going to have like an Afghan Southern twang.
There you go.
So,
okay, well, cheers to
Cheers to
Jose
everybody.
and cheers to Syed. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye. Wait, before you go, if you enjoyed this episode and if we brought you value, take a minute to rate the show, leave a review, or drop a comment.
We are giving away our best stuff for free. Find it at hustlehumblypodcast.com/freebies.
We'd also love to see you in Hustle Humbly community. Join us there at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership.
We love chatting with you in our DMs. Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast and say hello.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at team@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly Podcast. See you next week.